Hey neighbors and my fellow holy smokers, this is Kristian Smith. We're back for another episode of Holy Smoke, Cigars and Spirituality. Now listen, we're new, we're just getting started, so in some of these first episodes, we had some technical difficulties with the sound, but the content was just too great to not deliver it to you. So bear with us, we're going to get better as we go, but I promise you, this content is just otherworldly. This cast is brilliant. So call the friends and family, have them come around, start a discussion. By all means, light up a cigar, pour a drink, whatever works for you, and enjoy this installment of Holy Smokes, Cigars and Spirituality. And I'll see you when this episode is over.
All right, you keep good.
So, we're back. Episode 3, Holy Smokes.
What episode is this?
Episode 3, Watch Your Mouth, Holy Smokes, Cigars and Spirituality. As you can tell, we've already kind of gotten started. That's pretty much how this goes. We're here at Highland Cigar Lounge in Inman Park in Atlanta, Georgia. Shout out to our friends at Highland for hosting us and allowing us to be here.
Thank you, Highlands.
This is also the place where we meet every second Tuesday of the month at 5 p.m. for our in-person discussion. And you know, the podcast is just an extension of what we do on the second Tuesday of every month. So I'm really excited to have my friends here. My name is Kristian Smith. I'm the heretic. I am the pastor of the faith community here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm the leader of the Holy Smokes movement. And today, we're going to go ahead and get into these introductions so we can get into this riveting topic about the use of profanity and spirituality and how all of that stuff ties in. So first, I have been working on this Sweet Maduro cigar by PD Cigars in Stockbridge, Georgia, hand rolled right in Stockbridge. So I'm working on that, and my beverage of choice today is I'm having a Four Roses bourbon. So my Sweet Maduro, my Four Roses, I'm ready to roll. I'm gonna hand it off to Nikki right here and let her introduce herself. We're gonna go around and then jump into this discussion.
Yeah, I'm Nikki Hardiman. Glad to be here with everybody again today. I work at McAfee School of Theology, Mercer University's McAfee School of Theology. And today I've got the same combo I had a couple of weeks ago. I'm smoking a Nasty Freedom, and I've got my Uncle Nearest Tennessee whiskey with a little honey and lemon in it.
Nice.
Hey folks, this is Myron Randall. Last time I neglected to tell you that I'm on the team at the faith community.
Yeah.
Here it is, I want to make sure I tell you that. But I'm smoking a Davidoff Churchill, which is one of my favorite smokes. And Nikki has influenced me this go round. And I am drinking this Uncle Nearest mixed with a little honey and with a little lemon juice in there. And Karema's doing the same thing, or she gave me this idea.
That was my man.
It was
before.
her
I got a
original.
new love of this now.
So I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. But yes, that's what I'm drinking. And so I'm glad to be here with us on episode 3. Episode 3. One for the Father, one for the Son, and one for the Holy Ghost.
Or the Holy Smokes.
The Holy Smoke, yeah. I like
There
it.
you go.
I see what you did there.
All right, Greg DeLoach here with Mercer University School of Theology, called McAfee School of Theology. And my side hustle is I still preach on Sundays. I've got a great congregation about an hour outside of Atlanta that I serve. It's part of my DNA. I love being a part of the local communities of faith. We're all struggling together, and I am smoking a Nica Rustica or Rustica. I think I'm giving it the Italian pronunciation. So anyway, and I am joining with the Baptist preacher Elijah Craig and his good bourbon that he distilled originally in the 18th century. So he had a side hustle too from his church job. All
Not
right.
many ministers without one.
That's exactly right. Love this.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Kingmaker.
Yes, I'm the Kingmaker from Vance Cross, native of Atlanta, pastor, marketplace master, and focused on operating at the highest level purpose. I am smoking along with our founder and leader, Shopkins.
Yes, sir.
I'm Grayson Hester.
The Pun King.
That's me, the pundit.
See?
Hey, you can't help himself. Can't help himself.
Yeah.
It's in your DNA.
Grayson,
It is.
the pundit.
The pundit.
Yes, my name is Grayson Hester. My pronouns are he, him, his. I am the communication director for the faith community, and I'm also a student at Mercer University's McAfee School of Theology. I am a second-year Master of Divinity student with a concentration in Christian social ethics, and I am drinking I forget the brewery, but it is a coffee stout.
Almanac.
Thank you. Almanac. Almanac coffee stout, which is basically just Guinness with a little kick to it. So happy to be here.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not sure if my mic is on. I don't think it is. Is my mic on, sir? No, it's not. Let me see what it says. Here we go. My name is Karema Greene, and it's all right, baby.
Not to be unmiked.
Indeed. I'm the founder of the Genius School. It is a decentralized, democratic, self-directed learning environment. I'm the co-founder of Not Yet Pro, a platform that allows amateur athletes to promote themselves globally, among some other things I do, but we ain't got that kind of time. So today, what this here called the Olivia. Is what it is.
Alleviate.
Yeah.
Oh, that was my reference to the color purple right there. Olivia.
I like that.
Oliva is what I'm.
What just happened on this podcast?
So this is what I'm smoking today, and I am drinking. I go between two boyfriends before my main man of choice is the good Uncle Nearest. Indeed, with a slide of honey and a dash of lemon. But today. It is.
Today, the third episode.
Indeed. For number 3, Highlands makes the best.
Yes.
The absolute best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Old fashioned.
Indeed.
Yes, it
So they
does.
smoke this bad boy just right and so.
Yes,
You know,
No.
yes, they do.
No ageism in this group.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yes. And just for the
Old-fashioned.
record, even though my name is Karema Greene, but for today's purposes, I shall be channeling my grandma.
All
Her
right.
name was Miss Geraldine Lanier,
Yes.
otherwise known as Miss Jerry.
Miss Jerry.
She called me
It's
Miss
so-
Jerry today.
All right, Miss Jerry.
I also have a grandmother named Geraldine.
No, wait.
Hey now.
Wow. Fine time.
Curse, there's a lot of different words used in Scripture. It's translated curse. It means to bring harm or wish harm to another.
Yeah.
And so, with that in mind, that changes how you use the word. Because a word ultimately is just a word. But we all know, I think Nikki's going to go there eventually, words have power.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that power can be to curse, to bring harm to another. It can also be to bring life to another. So some can be life-giving speech when it opens up. So, but it can also be debilitating, right?
Yeah.
Whether to the self or to a neighbor, person like that.
Yeah.
So, I think, in addition to what everyone else has said, with my relationship with God, I'm with Karema that God desires the me that God created and not the me that I think I need to be.
Indeed.
And so the me that I am is a me whose anger and frustration may only best be communicated in that moment, not as a curse, to use Kurt Vance's dialectic.
You already knew. A preemptive dollar.
Right. But to express honestly. But I think it also is a statement on God that I'm not going to limit my communication based on what the French did in 1066.
Okay.
Talk to us.
Give us more, Grayson.
So the Battle of Hastings.
Battle of Hastings. Oh,
Yes.
Lesson
I
today.
was just reading about that. Hey, go on.
The Battle of Hastings is sometimes known as the battle that changed the English language, and I can't remember the particulars or the details of it, but essentially it introduced into English French as the privileged, desirable language of business and commerce. And so it was a classist way of separating who was French and who was less than. And so when people say, pardon my French, it's a way of communicating that crap became a word that more privileged, noble people were using, and shit was a word that the lower classes used and was profane because it was the lower classes using it.
Wow.
And
so, and that's good because the New Testament is in the Koine Greek, the common Greek. And when I was coming along, in seminary, it was also roughly called the gutter Greek.
Right.
It was the Greek of the working class, the Greek of the people, and it was coarse.
Right.
So wait a minute.
Which is why, and I'm gonna get to you. Which is why the first day in Greek class, my professor put on the board scubala, which was a word that Paul used, which roughly translates into shit. Because Paul was of the people speaking the people's Greek.
Wow. So are you saying now that as we look at the word profanity, it's literally a differentiation of lower class and upper class, not so much the term, but the class?
Historically, yeah.
So when you are looking at this without understanding classical patristic or Koine, you are now helping people.
That's $5 in the jar.
$3.
I'm gonna put $1 for it.
Patristic and Koine?
No, wait a minute, he said that.
No,
But he explained it.
Not really.
There you go.
Different types of Greek language.
Okay.
So within that, we're really breaking down the fact that our mistake.
Take $1 from it. There you go.
Our mistake is misunderstanding the context of the gospel. Going back to what Kristian would always say: anytime you take a text out of context, all you got left is a con. We've conned people in our Western culture into believing that the word is the focus as opposed to the class that the word applies to.
I would even go further than that and say it's the interim agreement.
Oh.
It is based upon whatever this group of people deem at that time that this word means.
Yeah. So now we're going back to session or episode 1, helping people to understand that the main thing that we're helping people to break down is the fact that sometimes we've pretty much culturalized our canon to demonize people, as opposed to help people understand the real context of what it was saying. Even before we get to the Bible, this is just history. So now we've taken history, not understanding history, applied it to biblical context, and then put people in a minimized state simply because it makes us feel comfortable.
And the last thing I'll say, not to dominate time though, is that there's a reason why it's profanity, right? There's the distinction between the sacred and the profane.
Right.
So the profane necessarily is that which is not sacred. And so if the reviled people, the less than, the underclasses, are using profanity, then it's just another way of justifying whatever the upper classes are doing to them by deeming them as not sacred.
Wow, I want to let Myron and Nikki jump in here on this real quick.
First thing I like to say is this shit is bananas. That's the first thing. But secondly, I want to go back to the original question where you said, how does this affect my relationship with God? And I want to reverse the question and say, how does this affect God's relationship with me?
Come on.
Because I didn't start my relationship with God. God started this relationship with me. And so when he found me in the shape and the condition that I was in. And so he redeemed me or did whatever he did for me based on his love for me, not my love for him. So it doesn't affect our relationship because he knew this about me when he found me. And I want to suggest that if you think what I do damages the relationship, maybe you don't have a strong enough God. Right? Maybe your idea of divinity is not strong enough. Because if me saying 2 words damages my relationship, maybe the cross is not continually efficacious in my behalf.
Come on.
I'm gonna take this.
And then you said efficacious.
There we go. There you go. All right, Nikki, it's all you. It's all you.
You know what, I think about this conversation about language and the way that we use it. What I know is language is power. And whoever gets to speak their voice is the one who has power. And I also think that that words, and there are particular words that carry a lot of power. We have used words to demonize and hurt people. We have used the word queer to hurt people in the past. And that particular community has reclaimed that word to empower themselves.
Right.
Well, don't talk about reclaiming words, because I got a favorite.
Right. Well, and I was going to say, we've got, there is a particular word that begins with an N that we have used to demonize and hurt a whole group of people. But then that group has also taken that word and reclaimed it for their own uses, right? And so I think
Nikki
that
can't say this, so I'm gonna say it for us.
right. I was like, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it.
That's what she said.
It's not your word.
What she meant.
It's
That's
not
right.
your word.
But it's not my word to reclaim,
Right.
because people who look like me have used that word
You got it.
to hurt people who don't look like
And
me.
another word that
ER.
only I can say in this space.
Hey, I told you that was going to be good. Now, to catch the rest of it, I need you to go over to patreon.com/TFCATL, as in the Faith Community Atlanta. Once again, that's patreon.com/TFCATL to see the rest of this episode and bonus content that you can't get anywhere else on the planet. So go over there and check it out. Tell us your thoughts after you watch the rest of the episode. Also, please do connect with us on Instagram. It's at Holy Smokes Movement, at Holy Smokes Movement. From our Instagram page, you can keep up with our monthly in-person gatherings that we have. If you ever want to come join us in person, also from there, you can shop for some amazing Holy Smokes Cigars and Spirituality apparel, just like the hoodie I'm wearing right now. So go over to our Instagram page, check that stuff out. And then lastly, if you have ideas for a topic you would like for us to cover in the future, or if you just have questions, comments, or concerns, you can email those to holysmokes@thefaithcommunity.org. That's holysmokes@thefaithcommunity.org. Well, I'm Kristian Smith once again, and I hope to see you next time on Holy Smokes, Cigars and Spirituality.